Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Iamtongue, and in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I grade F-Log2 video footages. Now, I just want to preface this before I begin. I am not a filmmaker. I don't know much about color grading video footages. I don't know my way around DaVinci Resolve as much as I should. So the color grading I'm going to show you is from someone that's not following any rules that you're supposed to follow. My philosophy is as long as it looks good, who cares? Some of you guys are asking me for my color grading workflow, and I thought, really? You guys want to see that from me? Like someone that's not a filmmaker? So the footages that you saw in the introduction has been graded purely with a Dehancer. So what's great about Dehancer is the amount of film stock emulations that they have at your disposal. I really like that, being that I'm not a colorist or a filmmaker. I don't have time to grade the footage. I'd much rather have a one-click solution with some tweakings here and there. And that's where Dehancer comes in. So the only way I can explain how I use Dehancer is simple. You know how when you edit photos in Photoshop, you have layers, right? So it's non-destructive. You're supposed to do that with DaVinci Resolve with a bunch of these node trees or tree nodes. Those are like layers. So you're supposed to color grade a footage like you edit a photo on Photoshop. How I color grade videos is like how I would edit in Lightroom. Everything is just one layer, and I'll just go down on each settings, making adjustments to the image. That's how I use Dehancer. So why don't we just go into Dehancer right now and I'll show you what I mean. So this is the F-Log2 footage, and this is with the lovely Luana. What I want to do is duplicate this layer and grab the Dehancer, and then you see here it looks funny already, but what we want to do is change the profile. Now we have to go into choose camera because it is shot on a Fujifilm, and then you select your vendor, which is Fujifilm, and you select XH2, and then you click F-Log2, and then it should do the trick. It changes the profile right away. You can see the before and after. Boom. And then it just added a little flavor to it, which I like. Let's go in and see what we can do. I honestly love the footage that came out already. Like, it looks amazing. And this is with the Kodak Vision 3 T250D. And what I really like about a Dehancer is the amount of film emulations you got here. Some of my favorites are like Cinestill, Eterna. Like, we can go through them right now, and it totally changes the look of the image. This is Cinestill, this is Eterna, Fujichrome. What else is there? There's Fujicolor Natura. So like, you have a lot of options to go to play around with, right? And then there's also like Kodak Portra 800 or Portra 400. The amount of film stock emulations you have going on to make your footage look extra vibey, make it more filmic, and I like that. So why don't we just go ahead and pick a color? I think I do like the Kodak Ultra Max. Because of the way Dehancer is set up, it reminds me of Adobe Lightroom. I edit this like Adobe Lightroom, so this would be like the exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whatever. I would just go down the list and then do the same thing if I want, right? So I'll show you what I mean. So you can lower your exposure. There's your exposure composition, compensation. Then you can change your temperature. So all these things you already know from Adobe Lightroom if you guys use Lightroom to edit your photos or any sort of photo editing software. And then there's your tint, so you can play around with the tint. And I'm just going to edit this to how I see fit, or to my liking, or to see what looks good. Right now, I'm just gonna leave it, just boost up the exposure a little bit. And let's see, I like it to be warm a little bit. And look, and we can see the before and after right here. Like I don't think I could do that on my own. So when I come back, right, I just want like a very quick solution, right? Dehancer does a really good job with, like, you know, making F-Log2 footages look really good. And this is film compression. I normally don't use film compression, but this lets you fine-tune the redistribution of highlights towards the midtones, and the midtones are also shifted slightly, while the shadows and the mid shadows remain unaffected. Again, do you see the difference? It just makes it look more filmy. White point. it sort of like removes all the highlights and make it more soft, right? Look, before and after. What do you guys reckon? That doesn't look bad, eh? Well, I'm gonna turn it off, but I just want to show that to you guys. And expand is like, you know, your black and white points. Again, if you need to, like, if you feel that your image is like a little bit contrasty, you can, you know, change this up a little. Pretty straightforward. And the print, this is where you can get like very like intense look. This is the last technical part of film production. It's the print, and what I like to use is either the Kodak 2383 print film or the glossy paper, Kodak Endura glossy paper. And you know, it just totally changes how it looks before. So this is the linear, and this is with the print film. And then from there, you know, if you want to change, add more saturation into your footage, you can by adding the color density. Tonal contrast too, and you can see that you start crushing the black. Exposure and target whites. I like that. Let me see what this looks like. Yep, it's black. Clipping. That's good. Boom. Very nice footage. And then color head, this is like, you know, color grading on your Adobe Lightroom. And then you can start adding more yellow or blue to your image. So use this sparingly, and then if you know the look that you want, you can just play around with it. Let's go for like a vintage vibe going on. Let me see if I can post something right now. Give that warm orangey tones. Again, this is basically like how you would color grade in Adobe Lightroom. And then we also got the film grain right here, and this is where, you know, you can go to town and add how much grain you want and the size of it. It's at size 1, but if you go to 12, see how much grain there is in your footage. And we don't want that. That's too grainy, but use this sparingly and use it at your own risk. I like to keep it at 1, and the amount, look, you can really make it look grainy as heck, and you don't want that. A little goes a long way, guys. A little goes a long way. Resolution, this is to like preserve detail in your footage. Let's see how this looks now. See, this looks, once you add in film resolution, it's sort of like, it gives you back the detail that you lost. It was at like 50 before. This is 50. That doesn't look so bad. And then 80, I think you can see that the footage just gets a little bit sharper. This is 80. Yeah, it does get a little bit sharper, and it looks a little more modern. So again, this is all up to you and how you want to attack this grade. Let's see what it looks like without the film grain. Yeah, it looks clean. It looks clean, but I much prefer the film grain. So we're gonna add that in. I don't touch the film tight or the mode or anything like that. I just leave it as is. I'm a very simple person. Like, it's just in and out, in and out. And then we got the halation tab right here, and let's turn it on. Again, you just play around with it until you get the look that you want. As you can see, when I add up the local diffusion, the global diffusion, you start seeing the red hues coming out. This is what you call halation, guys. And then amplify, just, you know, the strength of the halation. If we go all the way to 100, you can see the red hues going. Play around with this until you get the look that you're going for. Look at the halation. She looks more filmy and dreamy now. That's pretty amazing. Let's go from before and then after. Holy crap. And then we got the bloom tab right here. And again, this is similar to a Pro Mist filter, in which it blooms the brightest parts of the image to give it that glowy feeling. I don't tend to use this much unless like it's called for. So halation and bloom are things that I don't touch. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you guys how I would use it. So yeah. We're just gonna play around with it. Let's see what we can come up with. And again, this is just like Adobe Lightroom, where you're just going to fiddle around and get the look that you're going for. And you can see if I take down the amplify, there's no bloom, but as soon as I put it, then she has this soft bloomy look to it, and she looks very, very bloomy. Let me check this. Wow, that's bloomy as heck. Damn, she looks very angelic. And then we got the vignette. Again, this is very self-explanatory. We don't need to talk about this, but if you just want to enable it, give yourself a vignetting, that's all right with you. We're going to go edit one more footage. Why the hell not? So this is the before, and that's the after. That's crazy, eh? Do that again. 1, 2, 3. Before, after. That's insane. I love Dehancer, man. Dehancer is so cool like that. Last clip I'm gonna edit. Again, it's totally easy. I'm just going to add this node tree right here because I want to work on that node tree. Throw in the Dehancer, and after that, choose my camera. And I shot this on a Fujifilm XH2. And right off the bat, I can see that I'm not really liking the colors, so let's go into the film and change that up. Fuji colors, Superior. See, the one thing that I like about Dehancer is there's so much film stock emulations, but the one thing that I don't like about Dehancer is there's just so many film stock emulations. You get analysis paralysis just looking over these film stock emulations. Kodak Portra 400, that seems like a crowd favorite amongst people. Right now you can see that there's not much color, everything's flat in this image. So what I'm gonna do is just pull down the exposure until I get some details back in the sky, and you can see it's like an orange. It was a sunset shoot. So let's see how that looks. That looks a little bit better. Since this was shot at sunset, I want to warm it up just a smidge, give it more of that color that I want. And then black points and then white points, looks good. Color density, just give it a little bit more color because I feel like it was lacking in this shot. And then the color head right here. Again, this is what I do. Try to make it look good. So I'm just using like my photography editing skills to edit how I think it looks. And let's see, film grain. We're gonna put some grain on. Let's go with like 20 for film resolution. We can leave it at 50, but if you want a sharper, cleaner look with some grain, I recommend 80. And then you can control your grain and your shadows, midtones, and highlights. That's something I didn't touch on the previous video, so we're gonna do that now. And I'm just gonna bring it down. Bring it down to 20, highlights to 20, so that we don't see that much. And since there was a sunset, I'm gonna add on the halation. And let's go to amplify. Amplify that. Keep it, whoa. There we go. Source limiter. Let's leave it at default. Do I want a bloom in there? Why not? Let's try to add the bloom. There you have it, that's it, clipping. Oh, you see how she's clipping, right? This is why I have this initial node tree right here, because then if I see something like this, I would just work on this layer and try to bring it back up. So I'm just gonna boost my shadows and get it to that point where I feel, boom, it looks good. Nope, don't want that. Bring down the highlights a little, and then bring up the shadows. And you get something like that. Beautiful. And whoops. Let's put this full screen and we should play it. And forgive me if it's jittery because I am screen recording this all at the same time for you guys to see. So it may look jittery on your end. Please don't mind that at all. Before, after. Before, after. That's insane, man. It looks so good. It looks so freaking good. Well, I hope you guys found this video useful. There are some useful tools in Dehancer that I really like, such as the film grain, because you can really adjust and fine tune it to your liking. The abundance of film stock emulations that you have in your hands to achieve different looks is awesome. The halation and the bloom tool is great if you want that vintage look. So the possibilities are endless when making your footage look very filmic. So if you guys are interested in using Dehancer, I'll leave the links to them down in the description below. So use my coupon code to get 10% discount on your purchase. And as always, my name is Tongue, and I'll see you in the next video. I love you.